We're heading into a new financial system completely with digital currencies, probably stable coins for the United States, and everyone else is going into a central bank digital currency.
So are you into crypto as well to hedge? You are.
Yeah, I realize that once we come out of the ashes of what's coming, everything gets tokenized. When we talk about tokenization, BlackRock's in it. JP Morgan has been in blockchain, even though BlackRock and JP Morgan has been denying digital currencies for the past 5 years. Now they're all in. They had JP Morgan has their own blockchain. Everything in the world is going to get tokenized. Gold, silver, real estate is getting tokenized. Bonds, the stock market, NASDAQ, you name it. The derivative complex, whatever is left of that derivative complex, will get tokenized. Everything gets on the blockchain because it's like faster, it's trustless, and it saves money. Okay, so everything gets on the blockchain. So by 2030, and I don't know the dates of when the system comes down, but we're starting to see the signs of the system. Okay, everything gets on the blockchain.
I mean,
all assets get on it.
But when this all happens and there is a great taking and a collapse and the dollar's worthless, I mean, isn't there going to be riots in the streets? There's going to be a war, like among our own citizens.
If the wrong people win what they're planning on doing, they really don't care. They want control. And they want the American, they have to take down America because we are, we're freedom. Okay, we control the world economy. So you take down America, you control the world. And they want to control food. I'm sure what's going on with food. Bill Gates owns lots of the farms. I mean,
we got talked.
Vertical farming. I mean, that's crazy what you can go into.
We've talked about all of that on this podcast before with events, and it's yeah. I mean, I've read ingredients on one of the shows and been like,
they want to convert a lot of the food supply to insects. So that's what's going on in Europe. They actually have food with insects in it. Yeah, they want.
Why not the bug? Don't Doritos and Tostitos and all the other things that end in O's have bugs in them too?
I don't know. I think that's it. But yeah, so this is getting very interesting. And we got rid of the Biden administration. That's all fantastic. What you're watching here is Trump's job is to lead us into the digital economy, and you're seeing it right in front of you. Everything getting pushed into the digital economy. But how do you move 360 million people into a stable coin or a central bank digital currency, which Trump said it won't come? You got it. The stock market's going to collapse. The bond market's going to collapse. Everything collapses. Okay.
And you and I talked before the election briefly about that, and you said, it doesn't really matter who wins because we're going to digital currency, and you got to be ready for it. And I guess some people agree and some people disagree, but all the signs seem to be there from what you're telling me. So
yeah, you got to prepare for the great taking. That's kind of like either you got it, either you're in the system or out of the system. And the only way to get out of the system is physical gold and silver and cryptocurrency. And obviously, if the economy gets worse and worse in 25, which it will, you're going to see a situation where the banks are going to start hemorrhaging because they're $600 billion underwater. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, Bank of America might be the sacrificial lamb. They have about $100 billion of unrealized losses. So let's talk about that quickly. When the interest rates for each year, we have something called fractional reserve banking. You put money in the bank, that money is not yours.
Right.
They go ahead and lend. They go ahead and take your money, they lend it out.
Yes.
Yeah. At this point, they don't have to keep any money in the bank. Okay.
Yeah.
So they lend it out, and they were buying bonds at 0%. Well, guess what? The Federal Reserve raised it to 5%. Okay. So that puts them underwater. Every bank that is a major bank has been buying bonds and U.S. Treasuries. They're underwater right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if there's a bank run, they don't have the money. They got to sell their positions, and when they sell their positions, that's where the unrealized losses happen. So where's the safest place to put your money? Mm-hmm. Is in a credit union.
Okay.
Because the credit unions are owned by their members.
Right.
Okay. They don't invest in risky stuff like this. So get out of the banks. Now, the reverse repo market is now down to its last $100 billion, and that's the liquidity of the banking system, where in COVID it had $3 trillion, and now we're down for $100 billion. So the liquidity in the banking system is running dry, and you're going to start seeing banks collapse because a combination of the commercial real estate market and the illiquidity and the unrealized losses And that will potentially cause bank runs. And you saw that with Silicon Valley Bank. Right. The Federal Reserve did a band-aid. They basically had called the Bank Term Program. Give them all the money to keep the FDIC is broke because they shot their $225 billion budget right out the door with the Silicon Valley. So the FDIC doesn't have the money.
And yeah, they're useless now. They're not. They're literally bankrupt.
And if you think the FDIC is going to save you, they have 10 years to pay you back. So
well, and they just keep taking and making things up as they go along, right? I mean, the whole thing is, they take money and then they give it to somebody else, and then they say, "Oh yeah, we'll give you more," and then they take more, and
the bottom line is what we're living in is the Federal Reserve is a Ponzi scheme. They're printing money out of thin. If you go back, when we were younger, everything was so much cheaper. So you're seeing the erosion of the dollar. Supposedly we have 3 cents left on the dollar, where it's down to 0. And so time is running out. If the only reason why things get more expensive is because the job of the Federal Reserve has to continue to inflate, or it self-implodes. So if you understand what the job of the Federal Reserve, sure, it's 2% inflation, keep everyone employed. That's what it says it's supposed to. But it's not doing that, because if you look back in time, how everything has gone up in the past 50 to 75 years. The 1913 was the Federal Reserve Charter when it came out. And ever since then, the dollar has been on a complete decline. And we're at the end of the dollar.
That's insane. So how does having $30,000 worth of silver help me when this all goes down?
Because eventually the manipulation's going to end.
Okay.
Because when the dollar goes down, when real free trade markets happen, the real price in gold and silver are going to come. And this is what the central banks are doing. Every central bank is accumulating gold and silver. Maybe not the United States Federal Reserve, China, Russia. In most central banks accumulating. And for the first time in history, gold is now considered a tier 1 asset next to the dollar. Very important. Very important. It's on equal status. For the first time in history, that means the only move left, there's 2 moves left for the Federal Reserve, is to keep printing money, which they will, when the banking crisis hits. Supposedly, the more they print, the more we got to pay. But the inflation will go up. And so what happens is they're going to print, with the banking crisis, to save the banking system, they're going to have to print $20 trillion. That's the only way they're going to be able to save the banking system.
And the more they print, the more we got.
And the inflation will keep going. This gold and silver, okay, what's going to happen, they're going to keep printing. And the paper markets are going to collapse.
Okay.
And when the paper markets collapse, because silver hits a certain price, that's going to bring the ratios back to the normal levels that we talked, from 1 to 7. So the central banks, what their last move to get the world out of debt, because the whole world is in $100 trillion worth of debt, not just the United States, is to revalue gold.
Okay.
So all the central banks on their balance sheet have their gold in the reevaluation account. It's on that balance, something called the reevaluation account. So to take out, think about this, let's say 20% of our debt, they would have to raise gold, probably about $120,000.
All right.
Okay. It's a crazy number.
Let's